Hi, welcome everybody to Emotional Intelligence for Health. Thank you so much for inviting me into this health library and for organizing everything, making everything possible. I'll invite every one of you here in this room, and welcome to everyone who's watching. Can we first please do a big hand for the health library? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So emotional intelligence is a very special topic to me. I'm an international trainer with 33 years of experience, and I do both corporate training, coming in and custom designing corporate trainings around the topics of leadership, communication, and emotional intelligence for leaders. And I also have a training business that offers public trainings, certification trainings in emotional intelligence on all levels and neurolinguistic programming on all levels. And we are offering trainer trainings in Mumbai. And these are NLP trainer trainings and all kinds of trainings for leaders and trainers. Certifying through the Society of NLP, the original certifying body from the 80s in California, and it is the highest certifying body out there, the original pure NLP standards from the originators in the 80s in California, and of course updated. I'm working with people from my heart, and I'm very passionate about making change. The kind of change that I'm committed to is a long-term change, where you walk away with the tools and with the skills that you can apply daily, practically, and for greater success, personally and professionally. As a naturopathic doctor in Germany, when I started in the 80s, I was very, very, very passionate about the physical health. After some time of assisting, I was assisting one naturopathic Dr. Quartz in Berlin. For 1 year, he was a specialist in acupuncture and homeopathy and Chinese medicine. I found out that people's reason for healing has to do so much with their emotions and with their thoughts. And that seemingly the same program that they used for healing would be taken differently. And I could see that it had to do with somebody believing I can change, I am healing, or somebody saying it is very hard, I'm not sure. And so observing this over so many years, I look so much forward to share some of these experiences with you today. And I would like to start with some little stories, may I? So one of the stories is Freddie. And Freddie was with me about 12 years ago in an emotional intelligence NLP certification training in US. And he came because he had difficulties with his frustration. He called it anger. Frustration and anger is closely related. In fact, it's what you say that matters. And he would, shout at his son. And he was very unhappy about it. He wanted to change it. He understood about the consequences. He would get a warning at his job that if he would continue, he would be fired. What he was even most bothered about was that because in that apartment building, you would hear when there's shouting. All neighbors would actually, Freddie, Freddie. So he was really committed to change because what he had was a gastritis. And gastritis is a fire emotion. I wish I had more time to explain many things. And so it represents itself through fire representation. So his problem was gastritis, which was again and again flame up and, give him terrible digestion problems. After he did the emotional intelligence NLP program, he was able to handle the frustration and anger to a degree that he would say, I have overcome it. He hasn't overcome who he was. He was still a very fiery person. And in fact, what we had to do to cure that anger successfully was we had to actually allow him, welcome sir, to find ways to expressively express his fire energy, which was covered by doing heavy athletic sports. So he would actually do, several hours a week, physical release sports plus the emotional intelligence program step, and he overcame it and overcome. Within 1 month, he created great success. After 6 weeks, he didn't have to use the anti-acid and many of the calming medications anymore. After 2 months, he said, it is successfully cured. What I typically do, particularly when there's strong physical expressions, I check back with my clients and participants. And I have had probably, I think 3 years ago, another email exchange with him where he said, I have successfully overcome it until today. Another person, Mandy, she came to the emotional intelligence NLP training saying, every morning I feel down. At the clinic, they told me that I have depression. Now we in emotional intelligence and NLP don't believe that. We don't believe in those psychometric and medical diagnoses because we know there's so much going on the inside that we can't change. So, long speed short, she participated in the program, she did the exercises, she actually had what we call a taking on emotions from others, and what she didn't know was that her sadness was the emotion of her mother. It was not her own emotion. And after she participated in wonderful exercises with the emotional intelligence and neuro-linguistic programming, she successfully cured what this emotion sadness was. She could step out of it, she could handle it. She did some of the integration models and some of the stimulus response and swishing models in a very, very successfully way. Plus, she did a meditation every day for 10 minutes, 21 days, for 10 minutes every morning, where she learned to practice to separate taking on emotions from others and staying more healthy within her boundaries. And she didn't wake up laughing. This is not about phenomena. I'm not about phenomena, and I would not say something that is not true. She was able to wake up feeling neutral and simply feeling calm. She was able to relax and be free of the emotion of sadness. And just about noontime, she was able to access joy, and she was able to feel inspired for the rest of the day. And again, upon long-term researches, she has said still about a few years ago, welcome, that she has successfully overcome it. Not only that, but her doctor said, what did you do? I have never seen this before. How could you change something that we thought is called endogenous depression? Please don't believe in such diagnoses. AJ, in a course about 4 years back here in Mumbai, was very dissatisfied with his life emotionally because he was single and he wasn't able to attract a partner. And when his parents would give partners to him, like here in India, in this country, through arranged marriages, he would just every time say no. For so many years that the parents were very, frustrated. But he was not frustrated. He was just feeling desperate. He was dissatisfied because he said, coming into the emotional intelligence neurolinguistic programming training, something is missing. I'm aware I sabotage myself. And he had asthma. He would actually run around with his asthma spray and would always, have this breathing system symptoms. After he did the emotional intelligence neurolinguistic programming training, 2 weeks after, and he had used that spray for 4 years, 2 weeks after, he messaged me, I don't need that spray anymore. I messaged him 3 weeks after, how is it? And he said, there was a very intense situation. According to the practices in the training, I was able to meet the women that I would like to meet. I had 2 meetings in cafes, and in one I got a little overexcited. I had to use the spray. And then I checked with him again up to last time, I think, I have to look it up. I would say something like 15 months ago. He would actually say that was the only time. After that, never I had to use that spray again. I was emotionally healed. I was physically healed. Dealing with the disturbing emotions were helping me to cure what were the physical symptoms. So once again, welcome, invited to this little introduction. I will do my best to give you some sensible techniques, and I typically work very interactively with experiential tools. However, as it is not possible for the camera, I will do the best to hold myself back and still give you as much of a life hands-on experience as I can. So most of you would know about the IQ and the EQ, is that correct? Yes. Can I see hands who has heard of the, okay. Have you heard one of the original stories when it came about? EQ, no? Yeah, in the 80s. Yes, just to make sure that, should I quickly say it so everybody? So yes, and I make it very short. So it was basically research in the 80s, in the beginnings, when Daniel Goleman took it up. And what happened was they looked at a group of managers, about 20, who had very high academical degrees, professors, several academic degrees, and PhD and MBD and all of those degrees. And the feedback of the people around those leaders was less than good, maybe even terrible. We don't like to be around them. We feel talked to. We don't feel included. We try to get away from this leader, and all of the, ripple effects of not really listening to the leader were studied and were calculated up. Then there was a group of 20 managers and leaders who had very high feedback rocking high feedback. They're people that we like to be around them. We want to be around them. We can't wait to go into the office and talk to our leader because they are inspired, they are passionate. I feel accepted the way I am. I would do everything for my leader. I'm ready to change. I'm ready to stretch out of my comfort zone. I want to be as close to my leader as I can. Researched academical degree, low, little, some of them none. EQ, very high, very, very high. So that was some of the initial stories in the 80s that made us believe that it's not about the intellectual quotient in many circumstances, and there nothing about, please, nothing about the intellectual quotient. We need all. However, if it comes to interactions, what is needed is that we lead ourselves, have self-awareness, that we have awareness about the other people, and that we can actually maintain relationships that are wonderful and that work and that are successful. So probably most of you who study emotional intelligence may have seen this very basic diagram of self-awareness and changing self, and then relationship awareness, social awareness, and improving relationships. And that is from Daniel Goleman. And I have been studying all of Daniel Goleman's work and want to speak, please, with me, everybody, deep thank you to Daniel Goleman. Wonderful work, very powerful work. And as time progresses, topics progress, and what has progressed with me, that I put emotional intelligence with neuro-linguistic programming together in a way that we have even more hands-on tools and hands-on techniques, and the fastest cut to the chase practical change models that we can possibly use to handle this phenomena of emotions. And then many of you know that you can do tests right now. Go to Google within a short amount of time. There's the Rubin bar test, there's the MEAIS test, the SUSC test, the 6-second test. And if you would ever choose to come to emotional intelligence and neurolinguistic programming with Doris, NLP, or conscious solutions, you will get a skill test that is immediately measured by the skills that you measure yourself at the beginning, at 1 month later, at 3 months later, at 6 months later, and you receive mentorship and coaching all the way along to have more hands-on those diagnoses. So psychometrics are very helpful. Please do as many as you want to. And if you come to this training, it is not needed, because all those filters actually are less in control than when you literally measure each skill. So with this skill test, you will measure 70 skills that you can grasp onto, that you have on your list, and where you can measure yourself. Now, when we do emotional intelligence, what is the big question is your emotion running you? Or are you running your emotion? Isn't that really the question? Yes. And there is nothing right and there's nothing wrong. Neurolinguistic programming believes that we have everything inside of us to create the change that we want. Neurolinguistic programming does not differentiate between good or bad or right or wrong. It just says it's unique. Find out, study this amazing phenomena of human being. Yeah. And there's so much that we have as human beings that goes beyond what we literally actually can say by mathematical verifiable truth. So our emotions are originate. Some of the emotions are definitely originated and live and get impulses from the limbic brain. Can everybody please do this? In the back, about in this area is your limbic brain, and then somewhere in the middle inside is the amygdala, which is the emotional brain. And now can you use two hands, please, and touch this part? This is your neocortex. And there's one thing that we have that no other creature known, no animals, and not even research from Mars has, and that's what we have as humans. And what is it that really is the difference between us and the animal, and the neocortex and the animal brain? Anju?
Thinking. Thinking.
Which is based on
Neocortex.
language. The real difference is language, because language is what makes us talk to ourselves, and the way how we think about things and have internal pictures and movies and internal dialogues is directly linked to the phenomena of emotion. And that you have to come back to a course that is a little bit more lengthy, where I can prove that to you and where we can go into details of the analysis of what is the fabric of emotions. Now, what makes us emotional unintelligent is something we are going to look at. And for a moment, would you please read these emotions? Can everybody read one and shout it out loud?
Regret.
Frustration.
Helplessness.
Fear. Anger. Guilt. Shame. Embarrassment. Humiliation.
Okay, enough. I can see it on your faces. Look around. What happens? Just reading it within a second, within less than a second, we have to represent it on the inside, right? And now there are emotions that we all want to feel more of. What are those?
Humor. Love. Happiness. Grace. Relaxation. Fun.
Everybody loud?
Passion. Grateful. Trust. Confidence.
Now just look around. Can you see it? More color in the face, higher water level in the eyes, a smile. Would you say your breathing goes deeper? What else do you notice in your physiology?
Excitement.
Upliftment of your own.
Upliftment. And the change, there's a change, a measure, that is measurable.
Change in tone.
Physiological, the change of the tone of the voice. Thank you, sir. So there are measurable changes just within us, just even mentioning the word. So I'm going to just leave this once again here in the air for you to reflect, because there's so much more to it. Our emotions are coded in the way that we think about them, and in the way that we talk about them, and in the way that we hold them. Would you believe that? I didn't hear anything.
Yes.
I didn't hear anything. Our emotions are directly related to how we perceive them.
Yes.
Louder.
Yes.
So somebody is, maybe have the same high level of frustration, and they call it, oh, I'm just a little bit irritated, and somebody else says, that's rage.
Yes.
It's our perception. There's nothing where we can literally, what we can measure is the neuroactivity, because we can, just like we put the electrodes on the heart, put electrodes on the brain. And one of the things that we can measure is the neuroactivity, how much neuroactivity is there, and the intensity of it. So really, to make it short, what is the difference between an emotion and a thought? Is the level of neuroactivity. So the neuroactivity can show us, whoa, This is a full-blown emotion with the biochemical reaction of heightened adrenals, heightened heart rate, pulse changes, breathing changes, water level in the eye changes, skin coloration changes, with all of the physiological results that we then call an emotion. Getting a little closer to the idea? Is it helpful? Thank you so much. So, now what is emotional unintelligent? Now we want to research and become a little more emotional intelligence with this session. So let's quickly go through what is emotional unintelligent. And that's just something I have put quickly together for us to better understand according to health. So in my work for more than 30 years with people, what I would say the greatest emotional unintelligence, according to the body of knowledge that I teach, is not feeling emotions. Being serious, dry, numb, and from the perspective of what we do in emotional intelligence trainings for health, you would look into the world and you would actually see that this syndrome is the highest.
Separateness.
People feeling separate. What else? Singled out. What else? Being little robots, only going to work. Isolated. Thank you. Thank you. So that is actually the greatest symptom, and it directly leads to affecting the health, because there's muscle tensions, there's all kinds of tensions around the organs that are directly related to our vital functions work. There's, there's moving problems, there's all kinds of problems when we actually are numb and when we are rather tense. Second one is when we deny. Oh, no, everything is good with me. I don't have any problem. And we actually deny what goes on underneath. And in that category, what I found is that there's quite a lot of physical symptoms. Because here, I'm not expressing, and the result is on all of the levels. And there's many, there's many syndromes, for example, sadness, maybe living in the bladder, anger may be living in the liver, and many of the emotions have direct relations to the organs. And so when we deny, then the energy flow is stuck in one or the other way. And of course, as all of the bodies are related, from the emotional to the physical to the mental body, these are the results. Does that make sense?
Resulted into disease.
Resulting in illness, resulting in disease. And so the third phenomena is what most people, I think, relate to when they hear emotional unintelligence, is the so-called roller coaster syndrome. Feeling they were great in the morning, feeling bad after 1 hour, feeling this when the neighbor speaks, feeling that when one looks at the television. At work, these people say that. And so it's up and down and up and down, and it's actually often a hypersensitivity, which again reflects in the body. It reflects in the kind of symptoms that we produce. And that phenomena also, can be taken care of in the emotional body with emotional intelligence in a way that we can successfully overcome it. So, with all of these syndromes, what we want to just reflect on for a little bit, and would you please help me? We want to actually be aware that when we don't take care of the emotions, and we would, just think everything is good, there's nothing to do, it's just fine. This is the biggest difficulty in this realm is the denial.
Yeah.
And what they say is 80% of emotions are either not identified or incorrectly identified. Now those percentages are already hard to prove. I can just say from my experiences that is very true. The problem is not somebody saying I have this difficulty, I know this, I have a problem. Actually, this really is a problem. That's not the problem. The problem is the denial, just as we had it before. So the consequences are the hours of work. The consequences are how it affects how we relate to everybody else. And the consequences are, of course, not only on our performance and productivity, but on our health. That's when they bring me into organizations to help with emotional intelligence for leaders or for any group, to actually literally change redundancy, unnecessary repetitions, argue, procrastination, backbiting, gossiping, not able to maintain self, all of those things that interrupt the workflow and that, of course, interrupt us personally, can be handled. And some of the consequences, I just remember in one group of managers when I worked with the government of one of the states in USA, they said, I asked, how many hours may you waste every day by not being emotional intelligent and by sometimes just holding it, but subtle messages, sometimes expressing it, not expressing it. Even our attrition rate is related to this phenomena, of course. And just in this group, they actually said 2 hours a day. I have a little video on my website. Feel free to see it, www.conscioussolutions.com. It was calculated up that when those managers relate to the employees and all of the effects it has, talking to the superiors, talking to the rest of the people they relate with, all those ripple effects calculated up times wage for that company was $100 million a year. So I would like you to think about the negative consequences of not dealing with emotions, not learning how to handle emotions, and what emotions do in your relationships, what they even do in your marriage, what they do in your relationship to your children, what they do in everyday relationships with colleagues and at work. What are some of the things that you think can be the consequences according to productivity, relationships, environment, and health? What can be some of those consequences? You can lethargy. Lethargy means being means inactive. Thank you. Inactive and not acting. So lots of time can get wasted. Thank you again, sir. Or being too aggressive, and then there's so many ripple effects that we then have to take care of. And let's do a little. Are you ready to do a little reflection with me? And so once again, please. Don't sit here and say everything is fine with me, because then, let me go. Let me go. We don't need to talk about this. In the last group, actually, Koma, last night, no? So we had somebody say 70% of my time. People would narrow down the emotion they really want to change. Somebody said 50% of my time. Somebody last night, how many hours was it, Komal? One person said 6 hours, was it? So one person said 6 hours a day. And then some people say lower hours a day, and what we certainly cannot measure correctly all of the ripple effects, in human life. So can I hear some percentages of you now, looking at, what you're dealing with, maybe the physical problems you have, where now you go, oh, it may have an emotional component. So how much repetition is happening every day? How unnecessary interactions are happening? How do you talk in your family? Quack, 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 arguing. The same thing over and over, 12 years. So just, can you please throw out some numbers?
I would say quite high. 45.
45, thank you. Thank you. Can we please all clap? Thank you for that awareness. That awareness is needed for change. What else?
I don't know, I haven't measured, but maybe 2.5 hours.
2.5 to 3 hours a day. Thank you, sir. We want to congratulate that awareness. That's where the change starts. How much?
I would say it would be 50 to 70% because it's no quantity where we measure it. And usually the whole interaction goes on. If you're carrying, regression part of it, everything keeps on adding up.
It keeps on adding up, and it keeps
quantifiable measurement as such.
50 to 70%. Thank you, sir. That is the awareness that is needed for us to change. And really, according to caring for your health and according to creating that vitality on an emotional level, are you ready to do something about this?
Yes.
And that means engage in learning emotional intelligence. Engage in looking at how you can change your emotions. Do something about changing them. And what we need to do is we need to increase our emotional quotient through emotional intelligence and the techniques. Because the good news is that you can transform anger and stress and fear. And even better news is often not easier. Live more joy. Live more happiness. Live more of the positive emotions. And that's what we practice in this NLP-oriented emotional intelligence training. We look at the emotions that we want more. Bliss, enthusiasm, excitement, passion, inspiration. See, people come to me and they have that long of a list of everything they want to eliminate, or they call it control. Pardon me, control doesn't work. And then I say, would you please give me a list of all of the emotions that you want to have more of? Oh, I want to feel better. Okay, can you tell me more about it? I want to feel good. All right, can you please tell me more about it? And they cannot make a list.
People don't have list about it.
I'm gonna, thank you. Are you ready to make your own list? Begin to look at the emotions that you want to have more of. And right now, can we do it together? Step into joy. Just step into joy. Move yourself a little bit and just call forth joy. Joy. Let's see. Joy. Joy. Yay. Yay. We can see it. Look. Look. Deep breath. Then of course there can be stress. Then of course there can be whatever limits us. Are you ready to do one more?
Yes.
So now step into passion. I'm passionate. Say, I'm passionate. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about my life. I'm passionate about my health. Let's say, I'm passionate about my health. I'm passionate about my health. Very good. And then let's take this of what we are doing is a minute little variation of what we do in the training called emotion yoga. We can practice emotions just like when we practice yoga. Because see, you cannot do a yoga exercise without practicing it. You know, maybe I can do it right now, but how long would I last? I have to practice it. And we have to practice the emotions that we want to feel more of. Do you believe this? Yes. Very good. Very good. So how about care? And if you are like most people, and in India I find that very much, you care about others. How about caring for yourself?
Yes.
Can you please say, I care? And I want you to not just say it, I want you to feel it. If you need to close your eyes and say, I care.
I care.
I care.
I care.
And how about now we add, I care about my health. Can we please all say that loudly? I care. Everybody with me, please. Everybody who's listening, would you please speak it out loud? I care about my health. Now, don't become serious. You know, don't try to think this is a hard concentration exercise. Now, bring in love and joy and have a smile. Can you enjoy? We can have multiple wonderful emotions at the same time. So now one more time with a smile and with joy. Ready? I care about my health. Everybody, I care about my health. Everybody, woo, 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 jubilate, jubilate, jubilate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, well, let's move on because I have a skill for you that we would like to practice. And here is please just write to us at Doris NLP. And please receive a 9-page brochure. I have it with me. You can get it. Download from the internet the emotional intelligence brochures, which in detail gives you all of the objectives and all of the points that you can learn. We learn to distinguish between natural and out of place. Can you read that? Can you read that? Okay. And we need to interrupt stimulus response and learn how to stop and reflect. We need to pinpoint emotions. We need to successfully cure anxieties and phobias. We need to learn the language that the language that empowers, replacing language that disempowers. The insecurities and doubts can be transformed into assertiveness and compassion, and there's an inner neutral place that we will practice. It is so different than trying to control emotions. Build the inner neutral place, from which place you have more choice. Are you with me? Yes. Does that make sense? So all of this you can study, all of this you can download, and what I'm going to do, and all of this is accompanied by this skill test where you will basically always measure yourself about these skills and see how you are progressing. And one more time, there is no bad, there is no good. It's nothing that, is to be achieved like, of course we want to believe. We want to believe that by changing our emotions, we want to be able to change our physical health, and we want to work on all levels, mentally, physically, emotionally, energetically, and spiritually. So true holistic health is on all levels. And I'm speaking to you today, and I guess you are listening to me, because in all of my years of experience, the greatest success was in identifying and changing emotions. I believe the emotions are the core motivators for our personal happiness, our professional success, and for greatest health. So 5 keys. And would you like to receive one of the 5 keys?
Yes.
Ready? So what we are going to do is, as it is not possible to conduct the whole exercise, I'm going to just have you do it inside of you, and would you please promise to me that you understand that the full exercise can only be happening in the training? So one of the things that we teach, let me actually first give you a little story. So when I was studying for my naturopathic doctor, and oh my God, that test was such a high standard, ability to remember each and everything. And so when we were studying the anatomy of the cell, and the professor would speak about all of the parts that are inside the cell, the mitochondria, all of those, the nucleus, the cell liquid, and he would say, and every cell in our body, would you please look down and take a moment of awareness of how many cells your body is made of. And the cells in the muscular body is different than the cell. I'm trying to not bring too many medical terms. Different than in the bone cells, different than in the tissue cells, different in the vital organ cells. So everywhere are cells. And there's one thing the professor said that all of the cells have in common. They have a permeable membrane that is protecting the cell, so that the liquids are not just oozing out, however permeable in a way that two cells would relate to each other. And I'm trying to show, can you please do that with your hands? So if the one cell is one cell, and then imagine just, millions of cells, and they are all relating like this. They are respecting the boundaries. Do this. They are respecting the boundaries, and in class we will do a physical exercise by all moving around. They are respecting the boundaries, and they would not intrude. They might come close, but it would be like that.
It's a dance.
It's a dance, and it's healthy. It is responsive, sensitive, and healthy. So now what happens is that when this process is interrupted, and let's just do an easy example. All of us just bump ourselves, cut the skin, and then blood is oozing out. So in that moment, the permeable membrane, and pardon for that playful picture here, the permeable membrane is interrupted, is literally, now let's call it leaky. Everybody? Yes. Leaky. So when the cell is leaky, now do that with your hand. So then the other cell is going to come in, right? More blood is coming. And you can even, would you do this with your hands, please? And then say leaky. So if the permeable membrane is not intact, then those ill processes happen. Growth happens, ulcers maybe happen, and all, nervous system illnesses are even rather intricate, and it all relates to the permeable membrane. So when we, and so back to my story. So this is what the professor explained. And I was already studying about human behavior. And I was just studying about this phenomena that we take on emotions of others, that we let others intrude into us, that we feel the emotions of our loved ones more than our own emotion, that we are not able to do self-care. And guess what it is? Leaky cell syndrome. Everybody? Leaky cell syndrome. Our emotion, that's the wow that I got. That's the insight that I got. The emotional health is just like the physical health. If we don't have a permeable membrane, then not all, it's only one of 5 keys, and only a very shortcut of that key. So then we allow things to come into us, or we allow to what is called enmeshment, that we, automatically associate with something that's not really ours, and it has nothing to do with facts. It's made up. The emotions are labels that are made up. And so they are based in the emotional health model on everybody one more time, leaky self. And I've done this with so many corporates and groups, and I've done it with Play and Learn and the teachers of Play and Learn. And I just talked to one of the directors a few weeks ago on email, and she says, in our meetings, we still say, leaky cell. The way you talk to the parents was leaky cell. And even the parents started to say, oh, leaky, let me come back and be healthy, and let me come back. So let's do that. Let's come back to be healthy. And so while the professor was saying all of this, I was writing this down. And so it's one of the models that I've put together with emotional intelligence and NLP to literally practically use in our self-development and in our relationships, because when we do quack, 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 and we argue or we fight, not every time, and not all of those argues and fights, but a large percentage has to do with everybody leaky self.
So can we say the leaky emotions when we do quack, quack, quack? Leaky emotions.
Typically, yes, because you can't change somebody else. You can just invite it to them, and you can, please, we learn to be even more powerful in our communication and lead. It's not about saying it, it's about saying it, but not quack, 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 but about, okay, may I talk to you about this? Can I make you aware of something? Can we look together at how we can change this? And that's the permeable membrane. Can we all? So I said thank you to my professor, and I designed this emotional health model, and that was in '83. And that's what I'm still using in every of my trainings to create that greater awareness. So let's do this now. Permeable membrane. Everybody speak permeable membrane. And that's what you want to do emotionally. Permeable membrane. Thank you, everyone. Permeable membrane. Every cell in your body is made with a permeable membrane. Would you please build emotionally your permeable membrane? And take that one key of the 5 keys, and hopefully be curious to learn more of the keys for this emotional intelligence. And can we please, for just a minute, do I have one more minute, Anju?
Yes.
Can we please, for 1 minute, thank you, speak the emotional health meditation. Hold on. Let me reflect 1 moment. I think what I would like to do is, can we have 2 minutes?
Yes.
Is do an emotional health little reflection. And I have my CDs here for you to later be able to pick it up and do this in more an intense form of actually 30 minutes or 45 minutes. And what we are going to do now is just a small reflection or meditation for self-healing. Do you believe we can increase our self-healing powers? Everybody?
Yes.
I didn't hear anything.
Yes.
Everybody, yes. So would you please, if you want, close your eyes? And as you close your eyes, so many learnings you have listened to in the past 45 minutes. And may these learnings be with you and ripple through you and help you. And I would like you to just take some deep breaths and breathe a little more deeply. And I will use my language to increase and raise your emotional, energetic, mental, physical, and spiritual health. And as you are aware of these learnings, may you please trust they can go very far into the days and weeks and months to come. And as you sit here in this moment in your chair or in your couch, or maybe you even lie down, through your breathing, raising your awareness that you have self-healing powers. Your energetic body, your subconscious, knows about health and can remember your natural health inside. And so, would you please call forth your self-healing power? And your self-healing energy can maybe be like a stream of water that streams through you and outside of you and into all of the directions. And maybe your self-healing energy is like colors, different colors that you may see. Each of us has maybe a special color that's the self-healing color. And as you see those colors rippling through you and around you, would you please let that visualization of your self-healing color go through you and above you and inside and outside of you, like a healing motion. And maybe your self-healing energy is like a sound, like a special sound. And it could be an echo of, for example, what you earlier said, I care about my health. Or maybe even I increase my care about my health. It can be a voice or a song, and maybe it can be like a jazzy gospel song. Or maybe it can be like that infinite mantra that we hear in this country every day from the temples and from the outside. A mantra that is your healing mantra. And if you like, it can be the birds on the outside, or it can be the sound of the infinite ocean, the water coming in and coming out. And may that water be connected to your self-healing energy, or may your self-healing energy be like water. And allow to say to yourself, I have self-healing powers. And allow to remember in a deep way that you already know health and that you have the birthright for help. And healing is happening. And allowing this healing on all of the levels. Healing your emotions, raising your EQ to the physical level. And let your healing energy see it and hear it and feel it vibrate through all of these levels. Emotional, energetic, physical. And let it flow into all of the cells in your body. All of the cells in your body. So that all of the cells in your body remember healing is happening. healing is happening. And may it touch your mental capacity, your spiritual capacity, and may it enrich your emotional body. And would you slowly, even it's so good, open your eyes again, please? And as you open your eyes, would you please say, healing is happening. Healing is happening. Healing is happening. And may that vibrate with you and through you, through all of the levels of your being, so that you can learn how to be more healthy and happy, and know that emotions are signals for us to doing something differently, and look forward to receiving more keys, many more, and 5 essential ones. 5 keys that will significantly help to handle your emotions, to feel more your happy emotions, and to directly relate it to your health. And would you please notice that we have an emotional intelligence neurolinguistic programming coming up on the 4th of March, and the foundation level is 4th and 5th of March, and the practitioner level of emotional intelligence is 4th to 8th of March. And we have also neurolinguistic programming trainings and neurolinguistic programming coaching trainings in India and in Dubai on all of the levels 1, level 2, level 3, NLP master trainings and NLP trainer trainings, certified by the Society of NLP. These programs are monthly, and just please go to www.dorisnlp.com for the emotional intelligence and neurolinguistic programming programs, and go to www.conscioussolutions.com for corporate training. So if you know any corporate group that you think could benefit of this, and here are the telephone numbers. And thank you. Thank you so very much for participating. Everybody, I'm Dr. Doris, a master trainer of neurolinguistic programming. I'm only one of 4 master trainers of the NLP Connection, the original society of NLP. And I certify in all levels of emotional intelligence and neurolinguistic programming. I have been traveling internationally for 30 years plus, working with peoples and groups internationally for 30 years plus, and I am now a Mumbaite. I live in Mumbai, I reside in Mumbai. I'm already a year in Mumbai, and I will be many years in Mumbai. So come to India for the trainings, and both available for corporates to bring in excellence in leadership, communication, and emotional intelligence into any of your corporate groups. And typically, I'm used to train VPs, director level, and leader level. And also feel welcome to come into our public trainings in neurolinguistic programming and emotional intelligence, certifying on all levels, and particularly when you are a trainer or leader. We have trainer training here in Mumbai, and we have small elements that are not certification trainings in neurolinguistic programming, and we have the whole 12-day master program and 12-day trainer program with the certification of the Society of Neurolinguistic Programming. Thank you so very much.